Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fan cast. I'm your host, havokpus, and I'm joined by frozencreek, my partner in crime.
What's up? I have a partner in crime this week, unlike last week. So actually,
Yes.
you're my partner in crime. I think
Oh, I'm the partner. We
just
can't
for this
be
week.
we can't be co-partners. We can't both.
Just this week, you're my partner in crime because I was solo last week.
Okay.
So just this week.
This week I am Robin. Which one? Am I the one that gets
Yes.
beaten to death by a crowbar, or the one that Batman has so many Robins that die when you think about it. But
I trust
that's
you
off
on that
topic.
one. I have not seen enough Batman to know. I'll be honest.
Jason Todd gets killed by the Joker by getting beaten to death by a crowbar. Stephanie Brown is Robin, like, briefly. Like, she used to be like a sort of like a teen Robin-esque solo hero named Spoiler. But then during I think it's the No Man's Land Batman arc, she ends up dying. And part of it was kind of fucked up because Batman really only took her on to make Tim Drake jealous and return to being Robin. So it's kind of messed up. And
Yeah, you're all of them.
Yeah, okay, I'm all of them. All right,
Is that fair?
that's fair. That makes it a lot easier, and I don't have to ramble about comic book history.
Yeah. It's not that I don't care. I just assumed that there's probably like 10 minutes left of Robin stories.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Robin just either getting beaten half to death or dying. So
maybe I should be Robin because I'm the one most likely to be beaten to death. I think where I currently live.
okay.
So I guess I'll be Robin now.
Okay, I'm Batman again. Right, let's move on with the show. I'm getting really sidetracked talking about comics, and you don't want this to turn into just me rambling about the X-Men for an hour. So Cloud9 had a lot going on over the past couple weeks. First, I want to talk about the CSGO team heading over to Istanbul, which was sort of Tarek's doing, and we're not going to say his name in this house because he's a traitor and a snake. But they
Preach it.
What? Okay. So
I lost you there for a hot sec.
oh yeah, I think I couldn't hear you. You
Oh, I just said preach it.
preach it. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought you said. But anyway, so the team went to Istanbul to participate in the Blast Pro Series, and oof, that's all I gotta say. Because even with Flesha, a former Fnatic CSGO member, now on the Cloud9 team, the team didn't really look all that different. And I think that this is just an issue of Cloud9 trying to put the puzzle pieces together, and none of their puzzle pieces fit. So they're just kind of trying to, like, use scissors and like glue and just really like cheat to try to make this whole puzzle kind of work.
Yeah, I actually didn't get a chance to watch it, which was kind of unfortunate because I did want to see Flesha play. Did you get to watch it?
I did get to watch the matches, and they were really just they were just disappointing, to be honest. Rush and Automatic, the two sort of mainstays over from when C9 won the major, they're looking so off from when they were on top. Automatic is, I think, trying his hardest, and I think Rush is just really falling off. Skadoodle, which I sort of kind of excluded for mostly due to a mental lapse, but Skadoodle has also just been like really struggling to make an impact. Everyone's sort of memeing, oh, bot ska, and everything, but to be honest, Skadoodle hasn't been all that impactful, and when you're not impactful on the opera role, it's basically a 4v5 all the time. And the team just looks really kind of still struggling. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if within the next couple of tournaments they finally just ask Skadoodle to leave and they try to get an opera who is either fresher or a lot more consistent. And this could be the case. This could be like a cyclical thing that will just happen over and over again until we finally get a good iteration. And God knows when that would be.
Yeah, I feel like that's the ultimate goal, is to find another person or two to try and round out the roster again, so they can move back up in the standings. The signing of Flesha, I think, was a good statement of intent to show that they were planning on trying to rebuild the roster again. So I'm personally hopeful. And I think the signing of Flesha was kind of like the indication that that was going to happen. So it might be a slow process because they might have to find the players, scout them, negotiate and such with them. But I feel like by the end of the year, if not a couple months into the next year, that there's going to be kind of some new faces into the roster.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I think the only issue with CSGO talent-wise right now is like you're just not seeing a lot of new faces, right? Like for the past like few years, it's just been the same old names, right? But just on different jerseys. So, like Flesha, for example, Flesha was on Fnatic for forever. Now he's on like Cloud9. Everyone's really just like, especially with European teams, no one is bringing in a lot of new blood, and it's mostly just, well, if we have the money, we can just buy out their contract. And so there's not a lot of like talent cultivation, which I think makes it even harder for C9 to really find like the next Stewie 2K, which was somewhat what made Cloud9 such a good team. Was they found this like just raw, explosive talent in Stewie, and they're like, hey, this kid looks really good, and we have a really good feeling about him. Why not go back to that and just try to get a young, super promising player, and really just train them up with a bunch of veteran players that really know what they're doing? I think that would be maybe more beneficial than just trying to sign some old name that has been on 2 or 3 teams before and is just looking to maintain a steady paycheck.
Yeah, and I think that this is where other esports are really lacking compared to something like League of Legends, where there's now like there's kind of been academy teams in a way, and there's been like other series where people can play in a competitive setting and come out of and graduate from.
I think I think there is sort of like a challenger scene and like a tier 2 scene for CSGO, but I really don't think it is as like observed and like really like emphasized as much as just the tier 1 scene. So like if you're gonna get signed to a team like Cloud9 or Fnatic or FaZe or whatever, like you probably have to put like years and years into being recognized until like you finally, and maybe even just moving around to different teams before you can finally be like, oh, I'm on like an A tier team instead of like a B tier or something.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a fundamental flaw in how the championship structure in CS:GO has kind of built up. But I think it would be kind of cool to see Cloud9, I guess, try and reinvent the wheel and bring on a couple of young people to kind of shadow, maybe as like an opera or something like that, and kind of learn the reins of a competitive setting, and not exactly like sub in and out, but like to be a 7th man or an 8th man, and just kind of
Just to kind of like sit in on scrims and stuff.
Yeah, and just scrim with them every once in a while, or scrim against them, or even like a second team, like just a competitive setting where these players are playing in a professional environment, because that's so much different than something like just playing random online games with a bunch of people you've played with before, I guess. But
yeah,
just randomize each time around. So that would be a cool route to see them go.
And I mean, like C9 has proven that this system works. I mean, with League of Legends, the team went from looking really bad and looking like they're not going to make it to Worlds, but through this talent cultivation system that they had like refined through years and years of being in League of Legends, it seems like they just have talent cultivation down to a science, at least with League. Why can they not just transfer that over to, CSGO? I don't.
Yeah, and I lost you there. If you were going to say more.
No, that was it. I cut
Uh,
myself off.
okay, yeah, I feel like there might be some kind of funding cap or something in there somewhere, because the League of Legends stuff kind of, I feel like, pays for itself almost, and then some. Like maybe not directly in like prize winnings and stuff, but like the sponsorships are there to help fund it. And I don't know if that's there for CSGO or not. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm some expert in the professional CSGO scene when I'm obviously not. But I feel like it would be kind of a cool press. They didn't say, but maybe they know more about the trajectory of the game than we do. So I don't know. I feel like we've talked enough about this the CS:GO impromptly. So
I completely agree. So let's move on. I did want to give just a quick shout out to the Clash Royale team. We haven't forgotten them. It's just that I don't know. Every time like I'm like thinking of like results, for some reason always forget to write down the Clash Royale results. But I think I'm pretty sure C9 is first seed for the Clash Royale League, and like 90% sure.
I did see them lose to CLG once. So
Okay,
I can confirm that the
we're
Clash
second.
Royale League finals are going to Tokyo on December 1st.
Ooh, that should be exciting. But looking at group stage standings for North America right now, Cloud9 is second at a record of 7-3. They're trailing by Immortals by just a win, and Tribes Gaming, who fucked our Vainglory team from going to the World's Vainglory Finals. They're in third. So
yeah, I do want to throw in a pitch for the Clash Royale team. Just I haven't played much Clash Royale. I probably played the total of 5 or 6 hours of it, but I've watched a match or two of the team, and
put
it's
it in
actually pretty
portrait mode.
fun.
I don't know why they do that.
Yeah, actually, that does bother me. But
Really
but
ugly.
besides that, I do think that it is pretty fun to watch, even as someone who's not totally sure what's going on. It's pretty easy to pick up and kind of understand the basics of it. And I, at least when I watched, the commentators did a pretty good job of explaining what was going on too. So I would highly recommend you guys tune in to the next match, even if you don't totally understand what the game actually is.
I mean, it's really well produced. I think the only issue is just that like viewing something in portrait mode for some reason just feels kind of unideal. But you kind of have to because the game is in portrait mode, so I kind of understand. It just bugs me.
Oh yeah,
But
same.
but other than that, like top-notch production, really good casting. If you're into sort of a mix of kind of like, it's sort of a mix of like a MOBA and a card game. So if you kind of like really like strategic, sort of cerebral sort of gameplay with a little bit of RNG mixed in, definitely check out Clash Royale League. But moving on. So Rocket League, I think they recently just finished up the regular season for the latest RLCS season, and we are in the top 2. Our latest matches, we lost to FlyQuest, which was really frustrating because Squishy just wasn't on his game, and FlyQuest is also in last place, so that kind of stung. But they came out on top and beat G2, who has always kind of had our number, and has always been sort of the other sort of one of the other big dogs in Rocket League. We beat them in a 5-game match, and we have locked that second seed in, and I think we'll probably be getting a bye for playoffs.
Yeah, I actually haven't been able to watch as much Rocket League as I had hoped. But I mean, this is, I guess, maybe our most elite team like consistently performing type of thing. So I would definitely check it out. Do you know when the playoffs start?
I have no idea. You'd probably have to look them up, but I would assume soonish. But yeah, to your point about consistency, it's actually really crazy that this team hit, like, out of all of the esports teams that Cloud9 has, Rocket League is the one that just like, keep this roster, don't change it, because they are like always getting top 4 at events. They are always like, playing really well, especially when everyone's on point. It's something where it's like, well, everyone likes them and they get results. Don't change anything and you'll be fine.
Yeah, it looks like our next match is Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know if that's playoffs or not. It didn't do a very good job. The website doesn't do a very good job of explaining it. But you can look on RocketLeagueEsports.com to figure out where to figure out the schedule and such.
We're just plugging things left and right. Where's that Squarespace sponsorship?
I would love a Squarespace ad right now. Or
where's our Blue Apron?
If you listen to the first season of Serial, they were notorious for plugging MailChimp, and they would have like different people, I guess, say it that apparently I never heard of it. And there was one in particular. This thing was like a young woman, like not even a young woman. It was like a little girl, and she would always say "male Kimp," and I can never get that out of my head when I'm thinking of ads. So, MailChimp, if you're out there, I will pronounce your name correctly or incorrectly for money. No shame.
We are here to whore ourselves out to you, lovely sponsors. So let's move on to our next little discussion. I just wanted to also give a quick shout out to the Rainbow Six team, because they recently got a gaming house, which is great because, the team that plays together stays together, as well as they have been performing pretty adequately. And it's really good to see that, they had like some rough starts and they've been having some struggles, but then, they're winning, DreamHack, they're playing a lot better. And I think that everything's really gelling. I think that the team definitely even can maybe improve a little bit more. And I think they can stay around for a little while and maybe even win a couple more events.
Yeah, they've been pretty exceptional lately. I haven't had a chance to watch any of the recent events, but everything coming out of their results has proven that they are also one of Cloud9's elite teams, like almost every other team we have going for us right now. So
they've beaten SK Gaming, who is a pretty strong team in Rainbow Six, and then I think they tied recently with I can't remember. I can't remember the team, but they tied after they were kind of down. So like, you're tying with strong teams, you're even upsetting and beating teams. That's a pretty good progression. So I think that as long as they continue to go upwards, they should be on the right track. I don't think we have much to talk about with Rainbow Six. The last sort of non-League of Legends topic, and if you're a storied listener to our show, you'll know that right before League of Legends, I like to ramble about Overwatch. The London Spitfire is going to be having an event later in October. It is called the Grand Gala, and basically it's going to be a bunch of exhibition matches between our lads and the Houston Outlaws. They're going to have one event in London, and I believe an event in Houston as well. So if you're a fan of London or Houston, I hope you're a fan of London. Otherwise, why are you listening to this? But if you're a fan of either of those two teams, or if you live in that area, definitely go if tickets are still available. I think the London event might actually just be sold out. So hopefully you got a ticket. But yeah, definitely tune into that because it should be a lot of fun. I really want teams to do like more stuff like this during off season because off season can get really boring, especially when you're a team like London who really isn't looking to make any changes. Like I think the biggest news from London recently was just Closer, I think, left to join Seoul, and Closer was kind of benched already because the team plays better with Nuss. So it's like, why have Closer when you're not going to really use him that much? So yeah.
Yeah, it is a really exceptional event. I think one of my biggest critiques of Overwatch League was the fact that they have like geographical like settings, but like they have no relevance to like the actual city that they're like sporting. Like for example, like London Spitfire is like a team entirely of Koreans, and I would probably bet money that none of them had actually ever set foot in the UK, except maybe the airport or London in general before joining the rosters. So I feel like it is a really cool experience for not only the fans but for the actual players to set foot and interact with all of the people of London and experience what the UK culture is like. And if they are not aware, it is nothing like living in Southern California.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can blame the team too much. Like from what I've heard, like the first couple of seasons for Overwatch League are basically just going to be refining rules and the format of things, as well as getting more and more teams to kind of join. Because like Europe only has 2 teams right now. It's us and then Paris, who was added like in August. So there's not much for a European league if you only have 2 teams.
Yeah.
Plus, it would be hard for London and other teams sort of on the other side of the world to really interact with fans anyway, because like even like Shanghai Dragons, for example, I don't think that they could really go home and like go to Shanghai and have fan meetups, because it's like, well, we have to stay in California so we can like scrim and try to get better, or like any of the teams on like the Eastern Coast, like NYXL probably. I think they were able to go, but like you're only
like
gonna
between stages.
like you're only gonna go for a really short amount of time, if that, if you're not like swamped with scrims, or in our team's case, like a stage has ended and then it's like, okay, you have like a week break. Why don't you guys go back to Korea, hang out with family, friends, just kind of hit the reset button, and then come back, after like a week vacation, which I think, from what I have heard about Overwatch League practice stuff, is like really needed. So, it's kind of an issue of just scheduling and a bunch of other crap.
Yeah, so I think this is a cool event. In short,
Yeah, for sure, and I hope that
for.
Also, I think it's cool because the Houston Outlaws have kind of been one of our big rivals, because we've never beaten them except a couple of times, and there's always kind of that like kind of that grudge. So it should be a really fun match, and I hope that London does a lot more of this in the future, and just does a lot more events with the with the team and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, one last thing before we move on to League. You kind of downplayed the first couple seasons of Overwatch League. I think the first season of Overwatch League is the most important event in esports ever, beating out a League of Legends, and only second to a certain CSGO major in Boston as like the most important esports events in the world. And that's not just because we won it, but 99% because we won it. So
Exactly. I've been meaning to make like a subreddit called like it's like I've made it and everything. I just need to like start typing shit up. But it's called like Cloud9's trophy case. I think it's set to private right now, but it's like Cloud9's trophy case, and it's just gonna be like a history of like all of C9's like tournament stuff for like everything, and it's gonna have like artwork and like like if like a trophy isn't made, like I'll draw like a trophy or something, or I'll do like a little type up or have like a mod or like a historian, quote unquote, do like a type up.
Yeah, you heard it here, folks. One of our gifts for 100 episodes is the subreddit becoming public.
Yes.
That's not the person who actually does the work on that subreddit saying that. That's the other guy, but that's a gift for the 100th episode. So you better get that shit going in like 3 weeks.
Oh, I will. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to start working on it now then.
Yeah, it's official.
Yeah.
All right, let's move
on. Okay,
on.
enough messing around. So Worlds, I was so excited when Cloud9 won the gauntlet. I was sad I wasn't on the show to talk about it because I had so many emotions. I was so happy. I was so pleased. I wanted to share them with you, Frozen, but I wasn't. But I'm here now to talk about Worlds.
Yeah, so as I said last week, Cloud9 was drawn into a group with Detonation Focus Me of Japan and our boys Kaboom from Brazil. I know I said on the last podcast that I recorded Wednesday night that they were playing on Tuesday and Thursday, but it came out, I think, first thing Thursday that they were actually playing on Monday and Wednesday this week. So that means we know the outcome of our group. And if you relied on me to find out when you were going to watch Cloud9 at Worlds, then I apologize because I was right at the time. We have 4 games out of the way, and we topped our group going 4-0. We even put a Kaboom in a chance to advance to the knockout stage of the play-ins, but they fumbled their chance, and Detonation Focus Me is going on to play against one of the other first seeds.
I have to say I'm actually kind of surprised because the LJL, the Japanese region, has historically been really bad. They have not went very far in international events. Whenever they went to Worlds or MSI for play-ins, they would usually get stomped. So to see a team like Detonation Focus Me actually play fairly well, I think that you have to just give them props and be like, okay, you stepped up for your region after just historically not succeeding. We have to give it to you. So
yeah, and they were good and they were fun. I have no qualms with them actually advancing, but it was said to see our Kaboom boys fall down. I do think that they were definitely the second best team in the group, though. So I think that they earned their spot.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I agree, it is kind of sad for Kaboom, just because Kaboom, I think, feels kind of like our sister team, because in Worlds, I think it was 2014, we've been through so much in that time because it was a really crazy tournament, and I think our teams kind of like grew together through that meme. So it kind of sucks that they're not gonna maybe get to go into groups with us, but we'll do it for them.
Yeah, we gave them a chance. So just kind of where this kind of puts us at in general, Cloud9 topped the group, which means they will play one of the second place teams from the other groups that is not Detonation Focus Me. So it could be Gambit Esports. That's the only other second place team that we know. But at this point, Group A, EDG is 2-0. It would be cool to play EDG just to see Ray again, but I am pretty sure that they're going to go 4-0, leaving us probably against Star Wolves because they'll get their starting jungler back tomorrow morning, meaning Thursday. This won't be out in time.
I've never
And
heard of this
B,
team before, Frozen. Who are they?
Dire Wolves.
No, it's a joke because remember last year?
So Dire Wolves starting jungler is Surenfire, who played for what was it called?
I can't remember the team. He played in NA for a little bit.
Yeah,
and
he
then
played. What was the series called? Before it was Academy League, Challenger
the
Series.
Challenger
He
Series?
played for an organization at one point that I actually did some social media for.
Oh,
so
sick.
I thought he was actually going to be good at one point, but he's stuck at Dire Wolves and he just faced a 2-game ban for being toxic as fuck. So that is really on brand for Surenfire.
It's totally on brand for Surenfire.
It's extremely on brand for Surenfire. So I would probably say that they are probably going to end up second in the group, and there is a chance at this point that G2 finishes second in their group. They are currently in second place behind Supermassive, who are 2-0. G2 is 1-1. So there's a chance we could be playing Gambit, Dire Wolves, or Supermassive or G2. I think the perfect team to play would be Dire Wolves, to be honest.
I think it goes Dire Wolves, Gambit, and then G2. I really don't want to face Supermassive because even though Supermassive has struggled to get into the group stage, from what we have seen on Supermassive, just even in MSI, they have what it takes to do fairly decently in international events. Like I touched on this a little bit when MSI was around, but basically like the talent that's been displayed this year alone from international, other wildcard regions shows that there is a much larger talent pool out there outside of just Korea. Like why not like White Lotus, for example, super good AD carry. Why would any organization that needs an AD carry and has an import slot not just take White Lotus? It would be probably much easier because Spanish and English are more closer together in languages than Korean, and also, you're able to, I don't know, just help out a really good player. So I think that it would be cool to see teams start branching out more internationally than just like, oh, we need a top laner. Well, which Korean top laner is good and would be willing to play for us?
Yeah, I feel like what is it Echo Fox who did that with Lost?
Yes.
Yeah, he's from Oceania where Surenfire plays, and that's actually where he's from. There is what some would call an up and coming mid laner on Supermassive. His name is GBM, the infamous best a mid laner in North America at one point in time on opposite day.
Yeah, I was gonna say like he was the best mid laner for like a day, and then he completely washed out.
He was the best mid laner the day he signed, and that was it. But I think if G2 were to go up against ADG, that would be the most ideal situation going forward, because then we would knock out one of the European or Chinese teams, and that would put us in the best place to avoid Group B.
That's true.
And that's the ultimate goal. So you guys are going to be seeing this after we just spent 5 minutes on it. So you will know who we're playing in the next round. And then I believe the next round is this weekend, so it will be after we talk about this, actually.
Yes. But let's not worry about the future. Let's worry about the present.
Well,
and how C9
we
really
made
did
shit out of groups. Just throwing this out there. The knockout stages are Saturday, October 6th and Sunday, October 7th. They start at midnight Eastern Standard Time and 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on both days. So we will be playing in one of those 4 time slots. But yes, let's talk about our performance.
Before I was rudely interrupted.
That was important news.
I know. It's just you're messing with my transitions, Frozen. Anyway. You can go first.
We played 4 games. I think what we can say about them, besides maybe the first game, is that we played to the level of our competition.
That is probably the most accurate. Yeah, the games were really sloppy. Not just from like Blabber, like in particular because he is a rookie, but from like everybody. And I think it might just be like, so yes, the wins were sloppy, but they were wins first and foremost. I think you also just have to consider what Cloud9 is currently working with, right? Like, outside of Sneaky and Jensen, this is a really young team. This is Licorice's first year on an LCS team. This is Blabber and Zazel's first ever split on an LCS team. And they didn't even really come in until halfway through. They have half a split's worth of experience. And now they're on the world stage. I would be super nervous, and I would be probably making a lot more mistakes because, you know, you just don't have that kind of experience. But I think that this is really good experience for them. And I think that if this is the kind of play we can experience with a bunch of rookies, imagine what'll happen when our rookies become like seasoned veterans and play for a couple of years.
Yeah, and just to kind of top off what you just said there and to what I said about us playing to the level of our competition, I feel like this was a really good opportunity for the new players to just go out there and see what it's like in a high stakes environment. And I think a lot of the team competitions were crafted with the players in mind, but also to the fact that our competition was going to be trying to cheese out a victory the whole time.
I think that's really true.
Yeah, and I feel like that we did a lot of the fundamentals of the game as good as we needed to. It was just the fact that I think we were trying to play guerrilla warfare with guerrilla warfare. And the fact that we were able to not bleed out kind of shows the quality of our team and our coaching compared to our competition, because there were points in the game where we really should have been down like 5, 6, 7, 8,000 gold, and we were basically even almost at any point in time. It was just a matter of what the tower score was. So we did a really good job of eating up a lane CS, farming well, taking jungle camps, clearing wards. And I think those are kind of the things that you want to see. And I don't totally want to say we underperformed, but I feel like we kind of just purposely almost played the style of game that our competition wanted to. And we just proved the fact that we're better than them because we are, and we didn't have to try and play some standard game where it's easier to cheese a win out of. So I'm okay with what happened in groups, and I think that they'll be prepared for the weekend.
Yeah, I have to agree. Also, I think like a big reason why I think we won in just the first place was Sneaky. Like, he has been. I think that Sneaky is really interesting as a player because he is not flashy like Doublelift. When you consider some of the more sort of vaunted AD carries from North America, like Doublelift or Doublelift, I guess Stixay, but Stixay hasn't really been that great in a while. I can really only think of Doublelift.
The elite AD carry formerly known as Stixay.
Yes.
Also Cody's son. Sometimes
if he's on a good day. But yeah. So like, it's just weird seeing like, Sneaky like isn't flashy. He doesn't like do a whole lot of crazy plays. He doesn't even take all that many resources, right? Like, I'd assume if you looked at like gold percentage wise, Sneaky would.
I'm looking at it.
I think I would assume Sneaky would get like a lesser amount than most other 80 carries. Meanwhile, like Jensen is getting a lot, and Blabber is getting a lot, and Licorice is getting a lot. So the fact that he's able to be so impactful and not worry about like not getting enough gold or anything really speaks to, I think, how important he is to the team.
Yeah, and just to follow up on that a little bit, Sneaky is second in kills right now. He's second in damage per minute. I believe second damage percentage, and among the gold percentage, he's sixth among all players, but all those people above him are 80 carries. So I think he's exhibiting exactly why we've kind of relied on him for almost 5 years at this point. I think he really showed up in the group stages, and I would probably be correct in saying that if we didn't have such an inexperienced and elite 80 carry, that we could have easily dropped a game or two in the group stages.
Oh man, I mean, if Sneaky wasn't on the team, I don't think we would have even made it to Worlds, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, I would believe that 100%.
I mean, I actually am really worried about when he leaves, because that basically means that you're going to have to find a new 80 carry that can fill in some pretty big shoes. And I'm not sure if C9 would ever really be the same after he left.
I mean, C9 won't be the same when Sneaky leaves, but I do have faith in the organization. But that is a chat for no other day.
Yeah.
Were there any other highlights you can think of from the group stages?
There was a lot of wacky Urgot Ultimate stuff going on.
The first game? Against Kaboom?
Just overall, like stuff like messing with like Urgot, or there was a really funny play that happened today where Jensen was playing LeBlanc, and like Syndra ults him, so like he's like jumping back to like places he's like teleported, so like Syndra ults and like Nocturne ults, so he's like jumping around and causing like the Nocturne model to like kind of get confused, but like he dies anyway. But it's just really funny.
Yeah, I think the perfect exhibition of just kind of like weird Urgot stuff was like the first day, and including our game. I do also think that Zazel played a really good group stages, and that Loki was probably our second best performer. He had a kind of a quiet last game, but honestly, I think everyone really showed up and stepped up. The only one who kind of left me questioning a little bit was maybe Blabber, but I mean, it's his first time at Worlds, so I'm not gonna give him too much shit. He was obviously trying his hardest, and I have full belief that Reaper is gonna have them ready for the weekend and group stages.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm not even like holding my breath too much about group stages, just because if we get Group B, we're probably screwed. If we get another group, we may still struggle, just because our team is just really inexperienced. But I think that mostly, I think the goal right now is just to get to groups and then worry about the rest later.
Yeah, I just want to plug one last game. If you're looking for a fun group stage game to watch, and go back and watch, I would watch the Chaos Latin Gamers versus G-Rex's game yesterday, meaning Wednesday, October 3rd. It was a fucking shit show, and it was probably one of like the most exciting games I've watched, just because they fought so frequently. The final score was 16 to 28 kills in 31 minutes. So 44 total kills in 31 minutes. The final gold tally ended up being 56.2 thousand to 60.2 thousand. So it was insanely close the whole time. The Kaisa had 16 kills. So if you want to watch a group stage game, I would watch that one.
Well, if you can't think of anything else to say, Frozen, I think we've been rambling for quite enough.
Yeah, we went a bit longer than I was hoping.
Had a lot to say.
Get out of here.
All right. Well, thank you one and all for listening to Bodied, a Cloud9 fan cast. It's always enjoyable to have some listeners pop in. You can reach us on Twitter at C9Bodied or email us at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. We might answer questions on the next show or just hit you up on Twitter in a reply, whatever works. But other than that, thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Oh, just one last thing. If there's anything you can think of promotionally for the 100th episode coming up in a couple weeks, let us know. We are open to ideas. But
Thinking
that is it. So thank
AMAs.
you. Yeah. I don't.
Maybe like a caller. Have some callers come in. I don't know. It's whatever you guys think we should do.
Yeah. We will also think about it. Thank you guys for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.